When I first started running years ago, I was very overweight. I eventually got myself down to 300 pounds, at which point I managed to do a 5 kilometer run non-stop. I've no idea how long that run took, but it would not have been quick. Nowadays, I run 5 kilometers in under 20 minutes. But am I faster because I'm fitter or just because I'm lighter? Pretty soon, I'm going to be running a 5 kilometer race, but I'm going to be wearing a weighted vest and carrying my granddaughter in a backpack. How fast will I go? Will I still be able to do it non-stop, if at all? And will I look stupid wearing the compulsory Santa outfit that everybody in this race has to wear? Okay, I think we know the answer to the last one already. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So lately my weight has been creeping up a tiny bit. If you watched my last video, that might be no surprise. What's that like?
Moist on the inside.
Moist on the inside. My 5k PB is a 19-minute 11, but right now I'd probably struggle to get under 21 minutes, let alone under 20. So rather than have that increased weight and decreased performance continue, I'm going to remind myself today of where I used to be and why I don't want to go back there. Not talking about my fashion sense either. As you watch me getting ready here, there is a serious point to all this. I often talk about how I used running to help me get from being obese to in shape. In the early years, that meant running while still carrying a lot of excess body fat. Nowadays, because I'm quite tall, it still means running while pretty heavy. My quickest 5k was done at 208 pounds, so not light. So I believe that if sensible, most people at most weights can run or jog if they want to. And I get a lot of emails from people that get that message loud and clear. Whether they're at the start of a weight loss or health improvement journey, doing the run to one lamppost, walk to the next system that I used in the beginning, or there's somebody who, just because their height or their build is not a stereotypical runner, like me now, but they still want to include it in their workouts. But every now and then, somebody will misinterpret what I'm saying. They'll email me and say they're 100 pounds plus overweight, so it's great that I'm showing you can be fat and run, that you can live a healthy lifestyle, do healthy things without worrying about being very overweight. That is not what I'm saying. While my jogging, weighing the same as a small car, was a good thing, got me here, had I not also watched my diet, my recovery, my sleep, etc., and just let my weight stay where it was, I would not have lasted any time at all before suffering from, I don't know what, injury, disappointment at my lack of progress as a minimum. Getting CPR done on me by a paramedic during one of my nightly runs, more likely. The only positive being that he'd be able to see what he was doing. I was always running under lampposts. You can be overweight. You can choose to stay overweight. And you can go running. But it's not what I did, or suggest others do, and we're going to see why.
3, 2, 1, go! Merry Christmas to you all!
We're off, and I've got to say, if you have lost some weight yourself, converting it into something you can actually pick up puts it into perspective. Just weighing the £20 vest on its own is pretty crazy, and that still leaves me a whole little human off £300, which was not even my heaviest. It was just when I first managed a non-stop 5k. In fact, I'm doing a charity event in January, link in the description, wearing the vest, and so I'm training it quite a bit, and it's incredible the negative effects it's having in the gym. Doesn't matter if I'm on the treadmill, row machine, lifting weights, everything is harder. Add on the rest, I don't know how I moved around in my early 30s, getting in and out of a car, getting out of a chair, going upstairs even. Back then, I spent a lot of time sat down on ground floors. 1k, about, oh man, high 6 minutes, 6:40. Brutal. Brutal is right, both seeing that time on the GPS, it was 6 minutes 33, and seeing the way that little kid came past me. What was interesting was that up until that point, certainly the first half kilometre, I'd felt good. With the pack on, I felt sort of half Navy SEAL, half Master Blaster from Thunderdome, and I felt I was going quick-ish, which reminded me what it felt like when I first started out running. I'd be jogging along, feeling like I was really making progress, and I was. Each time I was out, I was running a little bit quicker, a bit fitter than the last time. But when you're starting from a low point, being better isn't necessarily good enough yet. And it's why I got so much value from doing Saturday morning park runs. On my own, I'd been happy running for 5 or 6 minutes, feeling big and powerful, labelled myself a runner, cardio ticked off the list for that day. But turning up on my weekly park run, hundreds of other people all gathered to do the same, would be a great reality check. A couple of kilometres in, I'd be a shuffling mess, getting passed by little old ladies and people pushing kids' buggies. Sometimes little old ladies pushing kids' buggies. I would get round in way over 40 minutes and I would go home knowing I had more to do. I was a long way below average. 2 kilometres. Now starting to overheat. And yeah, getting some pretty horrific flashbacks. That kilometre was a 7-minute 50 and the flashbacks were to any age between about 22 and 35. Back then, I just thought I was someone odd that was often hot. When I dropped weight, I discovered I was a normal person that had been covered in a blanket of fat. One of the reasons I live in t-shirt and shorts year round now is I still enjoy the new sensation of occasionally feeling cold. For much of my adult life, I was just permanently overheating. Okay, we're at halfway, 2.5k.
Very critic.
18.5 minutes. Oh, this is horrible. Ankles ache, hips ache. They're the two main ones.
Feet cold.
Aerobically, struggling to breathe. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough down here. How are you doing up there?
Good.
You're doing good?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, it's halfway. Should we swap over? So halfway around, and the reason why I question people emailing me saying that they're very fat and fit and it's all good like that are starting to kick in. And at this point, there's probably a couple of questions that you're now pondering. Firstly, did I just buy the very first backpack child thing that I could find on Facebook Marketplace and then turn up at the race and just go for it with zero preparation whatsoever? The answer to that is obviously no. I'll stick up the extensive footage available of me training for this event. And while you're watching that, you might also be curious to know if the merchandise is now on the website, and it is. And that is a segue into this video's sponsor that is as cool as I look to my neighbours filming that training stuff. Oh, and yes, what you're about to see is the mention of Squarespace from the Christmas food video with Joshua, because it is not possible to film a sponsor's mention more perfect than that. Have you seen the updated website?
Of course I have.
How good did it look?
Amazing.
Do you know who I built that website with?
Who did you build it with?
I built it with Squarespace.
How easy was it to build that website?
It's a good thing you asked, Joshua. It was incredibly easy to build that website because building a website with Squarespace is incredibly straightforward.
How would I find a website like that for myself?
Why are you speaking an Australian accent? Why are you doing an Australian accent? How do you find a website? Well, don't do an Australian accent.
The Aussies want
Don't do an Australian. Don't do an Australian.
How would an Australian find the website?
An Australian, or indeed anybody else, would find a website like that by going to Squarespace and looking through the huge range of templates they have available. Find one that takes your fancy and then edit and change it to your heart's content until you're happy with it. But what if you wanted to sort out your domain needs or e-commerce solutions? Do you think Squarespace would do that too?
No, surely not.
They would, you know.
Do you not have like Joe Rogan's got like a...
This is not the Joe Rogan podcast.
I can tell. How would I launch my own website?
What you do is you'd go to squarespace.com, you download your free trial, you design your website, which, as we've already established, is incredibly easy to do. And then when you're ready to upload, you'd use the code Mark Lewis to get 10% off. "3K, 3 kilometres, way over halfway. We're basically just running home now." Third kilometre in 7 minutes 20 seconds. So, can you run if you weigh a lot more than you should? Yes, as I'm demonstrating. Is it pleasant? No, not really. There were huge positives that I saw from running when I was heavy. Every time I went out, I was a tiny bit quicker. Every Saturday at a park run, finished with a couple more people behind me. Each run felt better. The improvements were genuinely addictive. But I was very aware I had a long way to go. All those good things were indicating I was heading the right way, not that I had reached my destination. Carrying additional body fat is going to have an effect, and if you're lugging enough of it around that when you convert that excess into human form, it's enough to make its own breakfast, you have to understand that's a big deal. Everyone is free to act the way they like, but you're not free to pretend that physics, gravity and science doesn't apply to you.
What?
4 kilometres. 4 kilometres, we are smashing it. Time is just gone through half an hour, and we're averaging a 7.5 minute pace. So we're going to be well inside 40 minutes. We're going to try and pick this one up and see if we can get inside 37, 38, something like that. That'll be good. That'll be good. It is starting to hurt. A 7:53 for that 4th kilometre. Interestingly, that's the sort of pace that I now run the back sections of a 100 kilometre ultramarathon in. And we were in good spirits here. When something is starting to really hurt, but you know the end is in sight, that's a good feeling. And I know my body well enough to be able to tell when I'm in trouble and when I have enough left in the tank to push. Pack keeps slipping down my back. I have to keep tightening it up. To be fair, it's not the pack's fault. The thing's designed for babies. She's way over the health and safety limit for this thing.
That clip's not gonna hold!
Highly irresponsible parenting on behalf of her mum. We let her come. What is your mum thinking? It's nuts. Which is a good time to add that I am an expert, but only on me and very little else. People often ask about the running program that I used to get here. I went running, that's it. I have no qualifications, I'm not a coach. So if you don't run and this inspires you to go and do so, take that inspiration and yourself to an actual coach that can help you do it safely. What are we going to do?
Run all the way.
Run all the way. Okay. I never suffered a single significant running injury when I was running heavy, but this did remind me that I would have been in fairly constant low-level pain with aching hips and ankles and sore toes. I just felt battered a lot of the time, and I was probably very lucky not to get injured back then. The human body, as it's intended to be, is incredible at getting you through things that you didn't think possible. Hence, I am able to run 100-kilometre ultramarathons. But when you swell its size beyond the proportions that nature ever intended, you need to be careful. The Santa run left me a bit achy the next day, nothing more. In fact, I ran a 10k race the next day. But wearing that weight for just a couple of hours, even with a run in the middle, it's not the same as wearing that weight all day long and then still having it on when you go and lace up your trainers next time. Nothing demotivates better than injury. Be careful. Okay, we're gonna hustle. Okay, here we go. Here we go, sprint finish. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Carrying the backpack the whole way round.
Whoa.
I look forward to seeing this YouTube video later. Well done. Oh my god.
Lily, get your medal. There you go.
And that is it, over the line. Last kilometre was a 7:39, but we did hit a 4-minute 8-second pace during the sprint finish. Luckily, no one stepped out in front of us during that. YouTubing granddad crushes man to death at Santa race is not a great headline. So final time, 37 minutes 23 seconds. And while I don't recall the exact time, my first ever non-stop 5k, I do know it was well into the 40s. So it does seem that I am at least a bit fitter as well as lighter. And I should add, if you are running, perhaps a park run on a Saturday morning, and you are doing it like I did there, well over half an hour, perhaps because of your health or your age, or you're just new to running, or like I was, you're on a weight loss journey, I take my hat off to you. People coming in a long time after the winners are putting in some work, probably a lot more than the winners in relative terms. On, by the way, we checked, 140 kilos, 308 pounds. So to wrap up, where's the amazing 360-degree footage from the camera scene here? Lens cap was on. The kid had 2 jobs, remind me about the lens cap and sit quietly for the run. Failed on both. And yes, that location was at the site of my famous 10k podium finish. Both events run by Barnes Fitness. Ducks in the background, likely but never guaranteed. So just remains for me to say, give the video a like and feel free to also go check out the Patreon site where you can support the channel, and that's massively appreciated. It just helps us make more videos, which are not always cheap to do. The stunt double himself may not have cost a lot, but once on the rather weird website that we got him from, Jen went a bit mad on buying other stuff. She had an okay excuse, but really, I'd just got her dad slippers for Christmas.